Good morning, freshmen. It's Monday morning for you. It's currently Friday afternoon, about 5 o'clock, and I'm wanting to wrap up my workday, but I also wanted to quick get in touch with you while some things were still fresh in my head. And a couple things, I'll try to be quick because I know that screencasts can get a little bit long. My first thing I wanted to talk about was just something that our administrators had been sharing with us, and that is how the first couple weeks of virtual schooling for you guys really should have been more about navigating through the virtual system and learning how to correspond with your teachers, learning their documents, trying to see how all of this works before we would introduce you to new concepts or do a lot of coursework. There's an expression, hindsight is always 20/20, and that means that, after something is over with, it's easy to go back and see how you should have done it differently. And it was hard because we didn't really have much preparation time to do something that was brand new to everybody. And in English, remember, we had a little bit of Romeo and Juliet that we still had to finish. And then I wanted you to get your paragraph written. That was important to me that you write that so that you have more practice for when you go into 10th grade English, especially since I don't know what To Kill a Mockingbird is going to mean for us in virtual school. So it was important for me to finish up Romeo and Juliet a certain way. And there were aspects of that assignment that were difficult. But most of the difficulty had to do with how do I find the information and how do I submit the information and what does this mean and what does that mean? It wasn't so much that you guys didn't know how to write a paragraph or know, the play. It was just all those other things. So another expression, it is what it is. We are now, 3 weeks into virtual schooling and we just kind of have to do what we have to do. That doesn't mean I'm not going to continue trying to make things a little bit easier for you to navigate. And now I can maybe slow things down a little bit. We'll see how things work. So I do want you to just be open and patient. If things change a little bit, then, just don't be surprised because we're still trying to figure it all out. And if you have suggestions, you can let us know as well. Okay, another thing that I wanted to talk about was one of the things that Dr. Peck shared. If you had read his announcements from today, Friday, he talked about two things that started with the letter R, and one of them was routine, which is certainly important, but I want to talk a little bit about the second R, which was reading. And he gave just kind of a little talk about how important it is to be reading the information that you're given. And if you had listened to my screencast from that I posted this morning on Friday, that I posted Friday morning, I actually had said the same thing because your teachers were it's a little bit frustrating because we're not in front of you in a classroom explaining things and looking at all your faces and seeing, am I seeing looks of understanding or am I seeing looks of total confusion? We don't have a chance to answer your questions. And so it really puts a lot of the burden on you guys to make sure you are reading and understanding the directions. And that really does require a lot more than what you're used to. And Dr. Peck suggested, read the directions, read them a second time. I would suggest, writing it down on your notebook paper right in front of you so that you have that easy to look at and you don't have to go find the directions again in your virtual world. Because you know how I feel about like those layers and layers and layers. It's just easier to have things right in front of you. A couple examples that I just wanted to point out were, I'm going to go back to our planner. This is one example similar to what I was sharing on the screencast that I posted this morning. And one is that I had asked you to attach your chart. There were lots of questions about how do I attach the chart because It's Learning won't let me attach it. And so I went in here and I added to today's post, copy and paste your chart to the bottom of your paragraph. And I had many people still, contact me by email asking that question. Two things. One, that is a question that you could have found here. the answer. And then you also, that's something that does not concern your grade or anything. And it's something that could have gone on your common questions handout that you have, where you can go in right here and ask any of those common questions. And one or two of you did, so I'm pleased with that. So use the comment questions there. The second thing that I had wanted to mention is that if you had read the screencast from this morning, I also addressed that same thing. And I was telling you how one of your classmates ended up doing a little problem solving and copied and pasted his chart to the end of his paragraph. Another one of your classmates problem solved today by just putting a link to her chart at the end of her paragraph. And that was helpful too. That worked pretty slick. So again, look for those answers before you try to contact me. And please read my screencasts or listen to my screencasts. And I do want to point out the importance of that because the screencasts that I posted this morning right here, I have them linked up now on this sheet right here called Freshman Screencasts. And I can see who has been in this document because there's a feature up here that allows me to go in and see, who has been viewing this screencast. This little feature right here, if I click on that, it brings me to this viewer page. And if I click on all viewers, then I have a list of all of my students that have been in there and viewed it. Now, if I counted these up, it's maybe 12 kids, no more than 15, I think. And that means that only 12 or 15 of you chose to read the screencast, listen to the screencast that was part of my instruction. That was number 2, listen to screencast. This is required. It was number 2 after attendance. And it's full of information that's important to you. It gives us a chance to kind of be one-on-one as best as we can virtually as well. So without, beating a dead horse, I really just wanted to emphasize that one more time. And then the idea that you would go into your planner, this document at the beginning of the week or something, or maybe only every other day, that won't work either, guys, because changes are made to it all the time. I had added this up here that new on April 2nd, your vocabulary doesn't have to be due until Monday. That's just one example. But as things change, there's nowhere else that I'm going to put them except on this sheet. So you have to go through, and as Dr. Peck said, read it through one more time, make sure you understand it. And where that is really important too, guys, is when you're doing your assignments and like if you have to make a copy of something or follow directions a certain way and you don't, you're creating more work for yourself and more work for your teacher. So that wasn't supposed to sound like another lecture or anything. It's just, our plea to you to please, work on that. And we will too. Like I said in the screencast, everyone makes mistakes and misses a direction now and then, but we all just really need to try to work on improving that. Wrapping up, I just wanted to make one more plea for correct attendance. You are supposed to go in and take your attendance every single day, even if no assignment is due. That's really important. Even if you're active in It's Learning doing things, I do not have time, guys, to go find your It's Learning presence. It's not that I can't do it because I have ways of seeing if you're viewing documents, if you're turning things in, how much time you spend, but I can't do that for all of my students and I don't want to do that. What I want you to do is the first thing that you do when you go in, it will always say take attendance, so please go and make that your first thing. This document is always your home base. Go to this document first. Now, just be aware and be patient because, I'm still looking for things to make this go a little bit better for everybody. And if making changes to how I do attendance is one of those things, then that's what I'm going to do. So don't be surprised if you come in one morning and I'm asking you to do something other than the emoji. We'll see how it all works. It's all in an effort to make it run more smoothly. So, go with the flow. That's all that I had for you today. So I'm going to close down and I'm going to shut things off for the night. And hopefully for the weekend, as far as like email and correspondence goes, I probably will do a little correcting. And I don't know what the weather is supposed to be like for tomorrow, but yesterday was really nice. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I miss you all very much, and I'm not just saying that, I really, truly miss you guys. I was even telling my sister about it. So hang in there. You are doing a great job, and I can't wait to see some of your work. And I'm going to start working on setting up Google Meets and things like that so I can see you. All right, guys, miss you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.